Who you are is how you behave when nobody's watching. I feel like in modern day society, there are just so many superficial people out there in the world. So many people that will pat you back and will offer you words of support and smiles all around when you're facing them. But as soon as you turn away, they'll stab you in the back. And one really interesting film that I watched recently was the first Purge. And that involved the American government setting up an option for people to commit crime in a contained area as an experiment to see whether they would. And a lot of people did commit crime. A lot of people had that in them to know when crime was made legal, when they had no accountability, they could go and do it. And a lot of people did. They went to rob stores, they killed each other, they assaulted each other, damaged each other's property. And of course, once this period was over, people would know who committed these crimes, but they were legal, right? So some people, in order to keep that anonymity, would wear masks so that they could be anonymous when committing these crimes. And so I've gone on a tiny bit of a tangent here, but really what I wanted to talk about is how your behaviour really shows who you are. When that behaviour is not being witnessed by anyone else, when it's behind closed doors, or when nobody's watching you to keep you accountable. So I went to an Indian restaurant with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, and after we'd finished our food, the waiter brought the bill. When I got the bill, I noticed that it was incorrect. They had charged us significantly less, about half price of the food that we ordered, because it wasn't our bill, it was someone else's. Now I know for a fact that I could have walked out there after paying that bill, saving about £30, which for me, as someone who works in healthcare and does not earn a lot by the hour, £30 is a lot of money that I could have saved. But being the person with integrity, or as some people would say, just being an idiot basically, trying to be the white knight, trying to do the right thing, like the idiot that I am, or the person with integrity that I am. You can use those interchangeably for this video. I called the waiter over and I said, look, you've made a mistake. We actually owe more money. This is not our bill. So she looked a bit embarrassed. She went off and got the correct bill. And when she brought it back, it was just like, handed it to me. And there wasn't like an acknowledgement of like, oh, like, thanks for doing this. Like, not that I need someone to tell me that I've done the right thing, but it would be nice to just have acknowledgement. Like, thank you for not trying to rob us, basically. Because I don't know who would have been to blame if I had just paid the bill without really properly looking at it and walked out, and you know, they would have given someone else the bill that we had. Regardless, it would have been nice for that acknowledgement. Anyway, there was no acknowledgement, and obviously the correct bill was brought and I paid that and I did the right thing and I left. And so that's an example of where I haven't really lost out on anything, but there's been nothing gained. Not that you do these good things, these things with integrity because you expect things in return, but that is like the norm. You don't get anything from it. In some cases, I've noticed that I have lost out because I've had integrity. And really, it just leads to me questioning whether or not people with integrity ever actually win in life. Because from where I'm standing, we either don't gain anything or we lose out. And that leads me to the question. To be successful, do you need to have the ability or the willingness to do things without integrity, to do things that don't have integrity, to sacrifice your integrity, to stab someone in the back, basically, as a lot of people do as they clamber to the top of the mountain of life? Is it worth it to lose your word? Because ultimately, as a man, all you have is your word. It doesn't matter how rich you are, it doesn't matter how many cars you have, how many mansions you have. If your word means nothing, you're a slime ball. Even if you're rich and you have all these things, you're still a rich slime ball if your word means nothing. So I would have thought that this video that I'm giving you guys would have a straightforward answer, but Alas, I do not. I will leave this for you guys to answer in the comments, in everyday life. Will having integrity help you win in life? Possibly. Although I haven't seen it yet in mine. Does it mean that you shouldn't have integrity? I'm not saying that. I am saying that integrity hasn't seemed to have benefited me in my life. Please let me know in the comments down below if integrity has benefited you. It would really encourage me to see that. But that brings us back to the initial purpose of the video. Who you are is how you behave when nobody's watching. Nobody would have known if I just paid the bill of that Indian restaurant that I went to and walked out. And I would have owed them £20, but £30. And I would have owed them £30, but nobody would have known. I would have got away with it and not had to pay anything. Really interesting question. If you weren't, it's a really interesting hypothetical question. It's a really interesting hypothetical question. If you weren't going to be held accountable and you were anonymous, would you still do things with integrity? Or would you not? If you had the opportunity to commit a crime without anyone knowing, would you do it? Or would you not? Anyway, I hope that you found this video interesting. I'll catch you guys in the next one.